Alright guys, so in today's video I did another long form of video showing pretty much every detail. Let me know in the comments if you like these longer videos or if you prefer the short videos where I just say, oh, take this off and then jump to it being removed. Like, comment, and subscribe. And also, just so you know, this you probably bank for about a day to do this job. It is it's very difficult. Not like complicated difficult, but just everything is in terrible spots to reach and you're gonna bash your knuckles. So have fun with the job, and I'll also be posting a separate video for the DPF removal as well, because 30 minutes was already a really long video.
All right, today we are deleting the EcoDiesel. This is, we got the kit from Dirty Diesel Customs in Kelowna. It's got the EGR delete, the DPF delete pipe, and we're also going to take the silencer out of the intake. You got to take your air box off here. There's clips all the way around. Where are you going, right? Just lifts up. I'm going to undo. There's a couple clamps here. Unplug your mass airflow sensor here. Just slide that up, push. There's a little tab in here you push once this is unclipped. You gotta take your engine cover off. There's another flat screw right here. This clamp. See? Just like that. Now this is your little silencer right in here, if you could. And there's just a couple little tabs. You get your flat blade in there, in the tab. EGR is underneath here. It's this thing here. Do not climb on the truck.
I'm not. I'm on the rock. I made a pile of sack of
Okay, so take a 10 mil. There's one bolt here, one bolt over here. Then you use an 8 mil. There's a bolt right here. Another one on the back there. This is disconnecting it from your intake manifold. this tube comes off. Woo, dirty. We'll tighten this later, but make sure that this is not loose. Oh, need the gasket. Gasket's still on there. Good. Okay, so now you go to your actuator here, and you follow this line along. Comes all the way over to here. Now it's, if you're having a hard time finding this, you got your upper rad hose here, and right where the elbow is, in front of it, there's a tiny little elbow that you just pull off here. Try to pull off, just like so. Now if you look down from the above here, it's just a little air vacuum hole. You just put this little cap on it. It's sucking, so you don't have to worry about this popping off, because it's just going to be pulling it on all the time. And then you can get rid of this hose. It runs all the way along here. I'm getting rid of that actuator anyway, so you got to worry about that. Now there's a connector right here. You just pull this yellow tab up and then squeeze. Once everything's super sticky. There we go. And you have a plug right here. There's a blue one down here. I don't know if you can see it. There. Same thing. There's a little white tab that you push over, pry over, whatever works for you. Kind of have to. There's this center piece in the middle of it here. You have to push it, and then the whole thing will push through. It's like a hook inside it, basically. Trying to do this so you can see it. I'm gonna have to just do it. All kinds of fun. There we go. So now that this is pushed over like that, now you can squeeze the tab right here. Pop that out. All right. Now, we have this big connector right here. I'm just gonna pop this off here so we can get a little easier access, because it's just a push connector onto your EGR cooler. So you just can pry it out of there. So you can pull it up a little further. A little more slack, at least I can rotate it. So here's the problem. So we got this there. Now it's just gonna pop out like nothing. See? Just like that. And this whole thing unplugs. Should unplug, but might be a little corroded. Yeah, there we go. It's a huge plug like that. All right, so we gotta take this back coolant hose off the EGR cooler, and then there's a front one down here. That one's gonna be the real pickle. But first we're gonna take the back one off. So technically, you're supposed to drain some coolant before you do this, but I don't really care, and I'm gonna do it anyway without draining coolant. Of course, this stupid thing doesn't open wide enough, or the hose is swollen or something, because it's still tight even with it squeezed. All right, now you're gonna have some coolant come out of here. This easy, that's for sure. Right. This one goes on here. Just let me grab a clamp. You don't reuse this clamp that's on here in the kit. It comes with a gear clamp. And of course, this stupid thing doesn't want to come off. Okay. All right, this is the tube that comes in the kit. This plastic piece has one end is smaller and one end is bigger. The bigger end goes into this supplied rubber tube. Small end goes onto the hose that comes from your heater core. Oops. Put this on here. Just like so. All right, you want to keep this propped up so you don't have coolant dribbling everywhere. Okay, so now you gotta get undone. There's a 10 mil right here behind this shield, and then completely opposite of it, down underneath on the bottom side, facing that way. So they're both facing this way. The top one's gonna be not too bad, but the bottom one is gonna be a real pain in the butt. One. And one's gonna be a real funner. Oh, no.
You dropped the screw.
Yeah. Really? Okay, so now that you've got those two screws out, two bolts out that I told you, there's now a T40 Torx on the back of here. So you'll feel a plate on the back of there with 3 bolts on it. You're not undoing those bolts. There's a bolt just below those 3 bolts. That's a T40 Torx. It's gonna be a real funner to get undone. think it went. Yeah. That's what it looks like on the back there. Okay, now you're going to remove the three 13mm bolts on this bracket right here. You got one, the other one's by this wire here. There's two kind of underneath there. So it's not 13. Alright, these are actually also 10 mil. This one from the top here. Oop. Just on the top here. Okay, so this black plate here is out of the way enough that you can get to the upper bolt, which is right somewhere here. All right, so do yourselves a favor, folks, and take the inner fender off. It makes it way easier than going from above, especially since you're going to be taking the DPF out, which is right there, and you're going to be taking the ECU out, which is right here. So just do that right from the get-go. So first, we're going to take the ECU out, because then we can get this big cable out of the way. Two 10 mils on the bottom here, and then there's one or two on the top. Wasn't me, it was the camera person. Was me. That wasn't the camera person.
Who's the face of this?
Why are you filming me? Should be filming your face when you get the smell. Woo! That one's right. Alright, we gotta come up top here. There's two 10 mils here as well for the ECU. Before I take this last bolt out, we want to unhook this. So you just, there's one of these on the top, comes like that. Same thing on the bottom, pulling up. hold them together. Just like that. Just get this last. Alright. ECU. So this is what you send in to your tuner to get bench flashed. Alright, let's go back down the road here. Okay, so now we got a lot more space here. Flex this out of the way wherever we gotta go here. Got one more 10 mil holding this black plate on here. It's just behind this water fitting. Plate out of the way here. Now we gotta go back to our 13 mils. So there's one more 13 mil right here, and then another one that's behind this fitting here. You can kind of see it there. Yeah, well, don't need it anymore. It'll hit the pavement at one point. And then this one right here. Yeah, sure. So now I'm taking off this front. So now I'm taking off this front coolant hose, going to the front of the EGR cooler. So EGR is free now. It's just the two hoses holding it on. Okay, so now you want to get this back fitting off here, off your EGR cooler. Alright, now your EGR cooler is liberated. But that's not even the hard part. Alright, so we have this tube that we've taken off the lower, this was on the right side of the EGR cooler, and it just bolted on the side of it. This is the supplied bracket in the kit, and this tube was the original one on the truck, and it came from this fitting right here. So I just took it off there to be able to mount it on this bracket a little easier. And now we're going to show you how to mount this bracket and tube back up in the truck. And then this bracket just bolts in place where your EGR cooler was mounted on the existing bolt holes right here. Alright, so we're just going to tighten these up and we'll carry on to the next step. Next, you got to go to this clamp right here. This is your coolant line for the front, for the cab side of the EGR cooler, and it comes up to this flange that you unbolted before from the cooler. So we're just taking this whole section out right back to this metal hard line here. So I'm going to do that and then I'll pick up after. We've now connected this hose onto here. This is with the supplied gear clamp, and then there's a black hose here that goes up here. I trimmed probably about this much off the end of it, otherwise this was like way out and then back, and it was kind of rubbing on stuff up here. So, and then this, there comes with a little adapter. One side is big and one side is small. So the big side goes on here, the small side goes onto the existing hose that comes from the top here. This hose right here, coming all the way here. Right, and that's pretty much that. Now we just have some main plugs here to plug back together, and they clip onto. They clip onto here with these little push connectors. So you plug these back together, clip it on there. The orange and the blue plug here, they don't get plugged into anything anymore. Other than that, we're all done in here for delete side of things. The only things left to do is put your intake back on, and once you have your ECM tuned, then it goes back over here. But I'm not going to show you that because it's easy and straightforward. Now we're going to move on to the impossible task of removing this pipe here that goes from the top to the back of the motor. It's going to be a real pain in the butt. I recommend doing this when you're doing the DPF delete at the same time, because then you'll be able to reach it from the bottom once the DPF's out of the way. So we're going to carry on with that and show you as we're doing it. We're going to be going up here to get that back pipe off for the EGR. It's going to be that bolt, and then there's another one back here. And honestly, I have no idea how you would have gotten that without taking the DPF off at the same time. So like I said, if you're doing this all at the same time, then you're better off. It's got, see, one there, one here, and then one up top, and they're 8mm, and it's the pipe that connects with your EGR cooler, and the kit just comes with a block off plate for this. So once I have these 3 bolts out, I'll put the block off plate on, and then the EGR delete will be complete, and and then I'll start putting the rest of the exhaust system on at that point. Cap this plate off right back here. It was kind of a pain in the butt, but it's definitely a lot easier once the DPF's out. Trying to do that with the DPF in, not a fun job.